Peace and blessings.
Blessings, blessings.
Blessing. Welcome back into the space.
Welcome back.
Peace and blessings. Thank you all for having us, saving space.
Giving thanks, giving
Yes, giving
thanks.
thanks, giving
We
thanks.
were just talking about how the time change, right?
Hmm.
That I believe it actually impacts most of the US. I think there's only a couple of um, let's let more family members in the door. I think there's only a couple of states actually in the US that don't take part in
Hmm.
daylight savings that's ending today. And we know that a lot of the rest of the world, of course, does not. So giving thanks for the grace to be at a balanced place for all.
Hmm.
And welcome, welcome back into the space.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, I am Wellness Warrior James Polk. This is my queen.
Tanasia Poke.
So it's been such a beautiful 21-day challenge so far, the Alchemy of Shadow Work. It has been an amazing week.
Yeah,
A lot has been showing up. I hope everybody has been seeing it, absorbing it, working through it.
yeah.
It's definitely been more intentional, I think, this time around for myself.
Mm,
Really,
mm,
really, really intentional about each day, what I want to get out of it, because I understand what I put into it is what I'm going to get out of it.
yeah.
So it's been work.
Yeah. Yes, y'all, right? Because we know, and we said it, right? That when we start to open up
That's it.
some of these gateways, these portals within our own awareness, it's certainly, it can become challenging to
Yes.
communicate, right? To just do life with others when, you've kind of wiped your lens clear
Hmm.
on a few things, if not a lot of things. And so, yeah, you said amazing. This week was amazing. It's amazing because it was
Right.
challenging and we're still here,
Right, right.
right? So with that,
I say amazing because I feel like when your mindset switches to understanding what's happening and you
mhm,
can actually in the moment understand when things are showing up, because this is what we're asking for, right? We're asking for us to open the way and
yeah,
things to show up so we can work through it. So when you actually get to the point where you understand what's happening, you can acknowledge it in the moment.
yeah,
It's amazing because you see it
it
real
is.
time and
It
you're like
is.
you're like, hold on, wait a minute.
I know what this
I know
is.
what this is.
Hmm.
Okay. Now let's see what the message is. What is it that
Hmm.
I'm supposed to work through in this moment? So it's amazing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. One of the things that I think is always so challenging with shadow work is pulling it back to self
Yeah.
because so many of our storylines, right? The
Hmm.
origin of the story begins with the offense,
Hmm.
right? Something that has happened, perhaps someone else has done something,
Hmm.
excuse me, in a way that has led to an offense inside or, an emotional disruption. And that's the way we've been telling the story for a
Right.
long time.
Right.
And so when we get to this place of being intentional with our shadow work and we want to now call it forward and say, well, how did we take part in this?
Hmm.
How am I participating in what might have felt like some, semblance of suffering?
Hmm.
It's tough, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, wait, I don't know if I've been telling myself that
Right.
I am a character in this story, right? In
Hmm.
a sense of being a main character where I've in any way been steering the ship,
Right.
And
Right.
so I think sitting with that awareness can be already taxing emotionally, sitting in the, oh, wow, there might have been something I could have done, said, perceived differently.
Hmm.
And perhaps I didn't at that time,
Right.
but now I get an opportunity to make the shift and do it differently now moving forward.
Right.
And then it becomes, and what does that look like,
Right.
right?
Right.
Really putting into action that whole idea of when you know better,
Hmm.
you do better,
Yes. Yes.
right? When you
Yes.
truly know better,
Yeah.
now you can do better, but now it's shaping what does that really mean? So that's where we are. That's where we are. We give thanks for the reflections that so many
Yes.
have been sharing in the chat.
Yes.
And we can tell by the support on those reflections that there's a lot of synergy, that a
Right.
lot of folks are traveling in similar lanes in some ways. So just giving thanks for the collective.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. When you're doing this and you're doing it with community and family,
Hmm.
it's really a blessing because you get to share the experiences each day. It keeps you inspired, it keeps you
Hmm.
grounded. And I'm thankful. So we definitely
Yeah.
give thanks for the shares and the community, you
Yeah.
know.
And it keeps you knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah,
Right?
yes,
Like I'm not
yes,
crazy. I'm not,
yes,
it's
yes,
just I'm not just out here doing life wrong and that's why
right.
I'm experiencing these things. Like many of us are experiencing similar things and it's because it's intended to expand us,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And it's not easy. And I will say that I was speaking with somebody early in the week and kind of talking about it, and I'm like, it's not meant to be easy.
Mm.
It's not meant. I mean, you can always put the blinders back on and just exist.
And even that's not easy
And
after
that's
you know.
right. And right after you know how, like, how could you?
Right.
Like you said, when you know better, you do better. So how could you? But it's not always easy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's where growth comes in. I feel like, it's not meant for it to be easy. It's meant for you to actually get in it, get in the mud, work through it. That's where the growth happens.
It's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true. I'm going back to our table of contents, y'all, just so that we can kind of look at some of the
Right. Some of the days.
where we've gone in the last 7 days. Um, Excuse me, y'all. So back into the Alchemy of Shadow Work, Sacred Relationships Unveiled book. And okay, here's what we've been stepping through.
Hmm.
On day one, confronting the fear of vulnerability. And I just want you to recognize how that these titles, when we mention them, might be making you feel, right? Perhaps it could be joy because you feel like you've found some triumph in those spaces, right? And perhaps it could be, oof, yeah, that was a little bit of a pinch for me, right? So the first one was confronting the fear of vulnerability. The next day, day two, was unpacking the desire for control.
Hmm.
And I want you to recognize where these words find you, even if you have not actually journeyed through it yet in the
Hmm.
book, right?
Hmm.
Just recognizing how you feel, how it makes you feel. Okay, day three was healing childhood wounds. Okay, that's
Yes.
always a Tuesday.
Definitely.
Day four, exploring shadow desires,
Hmm.
right? Those hidden
Hmm.
desires. Day five, addressing unmet needs.
Hmm.
That was a sticking point for me,
Hmm.
okay? Recognizing the difference in desires
Right. Yeah.
versus needs,
Right.
right? Okay. Day six was releasing resentment and forgiveness,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And day seven was embracing the power dynamics. Okay.
Hmm.
Today's day eight, y'all. And if you're already subscribed to the Substack, you have received already today's article, today's meditation, today's prompts. But if not yet, you will also receive it just at the heels of this call. We'll drop it into the chat as well. So, with that said,
Hmm.
I guess we'll do a bit of a pass the mic, but
Right.
what would you say was the most enlightening chapter or day for you this week?
Hmm. I think it's just one.
No, you can get
Uh,
plenty, whatever.
it felt like it's stacked.
Yeah,
Like I
okay.
felt like it was almost connected. It
Mm,
flowed into each day the way it's supposed to.
mm,
You know, from starting off with vulnerability,
yeah,
opening yourself up to be vulnerable. Um,
yeah.
and then next, going into the desire for control and really unpacking that. And what does
Mm,
that look like, right? And then you
mm.
go right into the childhood wounds, which was always deep, right? Because
Yeah.
that's the root of a lot of it. So you start going into that and, you know, um, just, to be transparent, right? Like writing the letter to your younger self was
Mm,
very touching for me, right? I really
mm,
connected to that. And
That was an exercise in the book.
right, right, right. It
Mm,
was a breakthrough for me because I really felt like I was truly speaking with and connecting with my younger self. So I actually
mm,
visualized that I saw little James, I
yeah.
connected with him, and that made me feel away, right? So
Yeah.
going through that and then going into the desires of your
Mm,
shadows and really acknowledging that um was huge. And then you go right into the unmet needs,
yeah. And
right?
now you have to shift and think about,
Right.
wait a minute, did I list desires that were needs or
Right. Like it
some
makes you
unique
like, yeah,
desires,
right,
right? Like it,
right.
it anchors you deeper.
Yeah. And then resentment was huge as well, to really sit back
Mm,
and understand, reframing your thoughts
yeah.
of maybe you didn't realize it was resentment. And now you're starting to
Mm,
understand, well, wait, I do have some resentment there.
Mm,
And where's that coming from? Because
yeah.
it's definitely not, like you said, it's not looking at another person. It's wait,
Mm,
why do I feel
yeah.
this resentment? Like, where's that coming from?
Hmm.
So to go through that and then, projections now. So,
Yeah.
so it just, it stacks. It stacks.
I agree. I agree. It's interesting because you mentioned the chapter on healing childhood wounds.
Hmm.
So each time we've done this, I
Hmm.
feel as if it's not I feel as if it is as if
Hmm.
I've actually gone to a different period in my childhood.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I've gone back
Yes.
to a different version of me as a child. And I think that for a long time, so what I recognize this cycle is that for a long time, I was always going back for teenage Tanisha
Mm.
because I felt like teenage Tanisha had been through so much. She was molested, she had abandonment issues, she
Mm.
was going to a school very far from her neighborhood and trying to, make friends that didn't necessarily even live near her. So when she went home as an only child, so to speak, because there's a huge age gap between me and my sister, just feeling the loneliness,
Mm.
right? Or so there was a lot of compassion, I guess, and just like focus that I had always on teenage
Mm.
Tanasia, going back for her. This is the first time that I did this shadow work and thought about the healing of my childhood wound, and I went back deeper. I went back for, like
Mm.
pre-K kindergarten version of Tanasia.
Mm.
And so that was really eye-opening for me to realize that it's not so much those like offensive kind of traumas always that
Mm.
shape the way you're traveling.
Mm.
Like I have been focusing on the what felt like the big,
Right.
hurtful, disruptive challenges in teen life. When there were some things that just disrupted my spirit and who
Mm.
I was as a child much earlier than that.
Right.
And so, what I wrote about this time and brought light to in my shadow was that there was a part of me that never really felt comfortable after maybe like kindergarten,
Mm.
um, being anywhere in a sense of attention, right? Anything that was seen as being like in the spotlight, having a shine,
Mm.
right? It felt very uncomfortable, although it was very comfortable prior to that.
Mm.
So what I remembered through this exercise was that I remember just always wanting to wear, excuse me, y'all, my voice is doing a thing here. But I remembered always wanting to like wear a little frilly dress and wanting to spin around in the floor and wanting to dance. And I used to get those little patent leather shoes. Y'all remember those patent leather shoes back in the day with the little heel on it? And you could just get in the kitchen floor and make a bunch of noise with the heels and just gotta click around and it made you feel fancy. Like I remember feeling like that. I also can remember it very vividly because I have pictures like that, right? Like hair was not done. So clearly I wasn't going anywhere. But I had on a fancy dress and the shoes, and I was just showcasing whatever I'm doing, right, in the kitchen floor. And I remember the day that my mom said to me, and I'm sure there was a part of her that this was love, right? This was protection in some way.
Mm.
She said, could you just go somewhere and sit down? Why do you need to be the center of attention? Could you just sit down? Why do you need to be the center of attention? And I remember as a child going like, what? You know what I mean? Like, because it had never occurred to me that what I was doing was garnering attention. What I was doing could be perceived negatively. It was just that moment where I realized like, oh, so if you're doing these things, people might actually pay attention to you. And if people pay attention to you, somehow that's not a good thing.
Mhm.
And it just kind of set the wheels in motion of shrinking,
Mhm.
of being the person who would be in the room. I would be like the kid in the class after that, right? Who my teacher knew I knew the answer, but I'd be like, let them raise their hand. And she'd be
Mhm.
like, Snasia, how about you? How about you? Right? I had to be called out. So I went from being the kid who would constantly be raising to having to be called to the mat. And
Mhm.
I took that into my young adulthood too. I took that even into rites of passage with Sacred Woman, where I was uncomfortable coming off camera,
Right.
speaking up, sharing anything, because there was this inside voice that was saying, people might feel like it's too much, you're
Right.
too much, if your light is big or they recognize it, that could interfere with your relationships, how they receive you, if they will like you. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
And but I recognize that today I have shed that. I
mm.
have shed that, but it is a return not to teenage Tanisha, but even beyond,
That's
which is,
beautiful.
so that
Yeah.
was really that was a big moment for me with
So
this.
just to stop there real quick, that's such a beautiful moment, and thank you for sharing that. Because going back into this work different times, um, you get different things.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, that it's continuous, right?
Hmm.
Depending on, and that's where intentions come in, right?
Hmm.
What are you looking for when you're going into this? Because it could be the first time, the second time, the third time.
Hmm.
Sometimes you got to go back into it again, depending on where you're at in your life today
Yeah.
and what you're looking for out of the work in that moment. Um, and it makes you realize, like, even thinking about yourself as a parent,
Hmm.
how you don't realize something that, or not even just as a parent, just as a person, period. Um, Words have so much power,
Yes. Yes.
and what it can do for somebody when they take in your words and what it does for them. So intentionality in what we're saying, whether it's to your kids, your
Yeah.
partner,
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
even yourself is so
Yeah.
important.
The self is big.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
Yes. Empress.
Greetings, beautiful,
Greetings.
Greetings.
beautiful risings. Yes, when you said rites of passage, you have so much growth today.
Oh, giving thanks.
Oh my
Giving
goodness.
thanks.
The things about going through rites of passage and being a practitioner is that you go through it with you all over and over again, and you
Yeah.
heal
Yeah.
those gateways as you go through them. And it was an honor. It was a
Oh,
divine
giving
honor, and I'm
thanks.
glad you spoke out because you are beautiful.
Give
Thanks.
thanks. Give thanks, Empress.
Uh,
And I think I mentioned to you all last week too that Empress was my practitioner at that time. So she was very patient, very patient and consistent, and still is in
uh,
so many ways. So I give thanks for you.
yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to be seen, especially when I was witnessing others at times, right?
Mhm.
Show up in the light, be seen, be heard, and sometimes it was leading to conflict. And there was a part of me that was going, you see?
Mm.
For a while that was kind of going, this is why I just stay in my lane. This is why I just, right? So it's interesting how you will find the confirmation to
Mm.
remain where you are until you're ready to grow.
That that's a beautiful statement, because it's so true. Everything happens the way it is supposed to, and sometimes being silent is for the message that you're supposed to receive from that before you speak.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
even to feel the discomfort,
Yes, yes.
to have to sit in that afterwards and go, oh, the should haves. I should have said, I should have done, I should
Hmm.
have, right? You have to sit in
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
discomfort. It's a different layered discomfort
Right,
after that, right?
right,
And it's one that's self-imposed.
right, right.
So
And this is where you say, right? Because again, just to be transparent, I was never a huge journaler, right? Like,
yeah.
this is something that my wife continues to pull me through.
Well, I haven't had to
No, no,
recently,
no,
that's for
no. I
sure.
mean, it took a few years, so you don't have to now. But even that, right? The thought of, oh, I should have said this. Oh man, I
Yeah.
was thinking this. To write that down, even if you're not speaking to someone in particular or into
Um,
a site or something,
yeah.
speaking to yourself and writing it down for you to even look back at that and reflect on
Later
it
on.
is amazing. Like, just right now, going back to the weeks, and I read back sometimes what I wrote, even as I'm getting ready to write the next thing.
Yeah.
Um, I understand the power of journaling and the power of writing it down and even just releasing it from your system
Yeah.
onto a
Yeah.
piece of paper.
Ashe.
Yeah.
Ashe. Did anyone want to share about which day, either presented a challenge or an awakening or a shift of any kind, or just want to share a comment or a question? What's coming up?
I'm like,
Yeah.
me, yeah. And so it's so funny. Well, let me just start by like listening to you both today. I'm like so much synergy, right? And so for me, it was not just the one day either. It was definitely stacking. That was my word exactly. Before it
Right.
even came out of James' mouth, I'm like, hold on now. Let me go first. Look, that was definitely
We are
the
aligned. We are aligned.
Yes, that was definitely the sentiment. And it was almost, it just gave me the image of like, just the keep peeling back of an onion, like
Mhm.
it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, there's more, there's another layer there, there's something else. And I really appreciate the like the expansiveness of the themes, right? And being able to really put words to like, oh, that's like you said, being able to name something, having that awareness and being like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that has been a beautiful, beautiful realization for me.
Right.
And then Tanisha, when you were talking about, so I have been also finally been able to dig back to memories that don't normally stand out to me. And it has been
Mm.
really nuts because I'm like, you know what? I just wonder how much of my life I don't really remember. Like it's there
Right.
somewhere, but it's like until somebody asking the right questions or just kind of digging in a certain direction, it just never comes up, right? Because
Yeah.
my life has been shaped by certain narratives, like bigger things that have been like, oh, this is the story that
Right.
I've weaved together. And I'm like, but there's so much more. Oh my goodness, I don't even remember that that happened and
Yeah.
all of the things. And so I too had that similar experience with I'll say one was I realized that I'm not a very affectionate person because when I was really little, I used to kiss everyone all the time. And I just remember my mother saying to me, like, oh, you keep kissing people, your lips are going to fall off. so, and so I stopped, like, and I'm like, I don't kiss anybody. And especially being here in Costa Rica, I'm like, that's how they greet everyone all the time. So I'll be like, back up. Like, you want to keep your lips, don't you? Um, and it's like, of course I know in real life that that's not the case at all, but I have just been a very non-affectionate person. I just remember even being in high school when people used to always want to hug you all the time. And I'd be like, nigga, I just seen you third period. Like, back up off me,
Right.
and how that was like a big thing. I went through a period of time, even with my son, because he's 13 now,
Yeah.
where I had to force myself to like hug and kiss him still.
Mm.
Because, like, in my brain, it was like after a certain age, like, you don't just be kissing kids,
Right,
like,
right.
whether they're yours or not,
Right, right.
So I realized I would still, because my daughter was still young. So I'm walking around like, oh, yeah, cheeks, kissing her little cheeks. But him, he wasn't receiving
Yeah.
that like love and affection. And so like it comes more naturally to me now, but that was training. Like I had to really be like,
Yeah.
okay, you kiss one, you kiss the other. Like you can't just like not kiss the oldest one. Um
Mhm.
and then even to the whole thing about shrinking because I've noticed
Mhm.
myself doing it even in this chat, right? I be having lots to say. Like y'all have definitely been bringing up a lot of stuff for me, but I'm like, I don't want to be the person in the chat just like writing paragraphs and paragraphs, like because I'm like, it feels like I'm trying to take up too much space, or even. But then there are some times where I'm just like, oh no, no, like I have to share because
Yeah.
this is
Mhm.
just like what is coming up for me. So I'm glad you even brought that up again because I noticed that I had been quiet in the chat for these last couple of days, and that was part of that shrinking, that whole piece
Mhm.
of like, oh, let me give somebody else a chance, to
Yeah.
shine and do all of the things. But this has been a very, very beautiful, beautiful journey. So I'm just grateful to
Good
you both
thing. Good things.
for holding this space and for the articles every rising, and it has brought because I was in a phase where I wasn't really journaling that much
Mm.
either. So having these like prompts and the affirmations and just reading your stories and being able to hear both of your perspectives and your experiences as we go through each theme has been something that has helped me to dig deeper and look at different places of myself. So I'm just like, oh, yay, this is beautiful, beautiful.
Love that.
Giving
Beautiful.
thanks.
So give thanks to you both.
Give thanks, give thanks.
Yeah.
And we so appreciate your
Oh,
sharing,
yes.
here as well as in the chat. And I know, as having been one of those sisters that would sit on the sideline, I would hope for the person that I knew was speaking for me, right? It's like
Mm,
it's like
mm.
Lorraine would be one of those people. And we had a sister Pravi, she'd be one of those, like they would just say the thing that I was still kind of wanting to say. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
right.
And so it was very encouraging to see you light the way there and here. So giving thanks for you not shrinking in the space.
Absolutely. And please, sis, don't shrink.
Yeah.
We want to hear it. Like I said, it's inspiring even for others to read it, feel it, absorb
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
in community. So please don't shrink. Thank you for your share today.
Yeah.
Because even what you said, I mean, I related a lot to the part about affection. As you're
Mhm.
talking and you're saying that, in my head, I'm traveling and I'm like, wow, I never thought about, like similarly, like as a young kid before the abandonment with of my mother, I connected back to how loving I felt naturally.
Yeah.
Like I was a very affectionate, naturally loving kid that would
Yeah.
want to go to everybody and hugging and all
Yeah.
that. And I can remember a time when I was sitting with my cousin down south who was special needs.
Mhm.
And I was hugging on her and I could just remember myself like hugging on her and
Mhm.
I was the feeling, like I actually
Mhm.
attached to the feeling of what I was feeling. It was
Mhm.
like pure love. Like I
No.
didn't know anything else but what I was
Mhm.
my natural feeling. And I remember my aunt coming up to me and separating and saying, kids shouldn't be hugging like that. Separate, Um, not realizing it's coming from a pure
Right.
spot, but I understand
Yeah.
like, people, thoughts, human nature and all that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
just so my point is that, your shares and everybody shares sparks travel for
Yeah.
another person also the journey.
It's
So
so that's so
yeah,
perfectly put.
yeah.
Yeah, it sparks travel, and that's exactly what it does. And just the examples that we're given, right? Lorraine, yourself, myself, it's just this idea that adults sometimes we put our stuff
Mm.
on the kids,
Yeah.
right? We put
Yes.
our
Yes.
awarenesses
Yes.
on the kids, things
Yes.
we've been traveling and
Yes.
journeying through.
Correct.
I remember my mom used to say, these people are not your friends. She would
Mm.
always remind me that people are not my friends.
Yes.
Like I'd be like,
Yes.
Mom, I just met this person on the playground. This is my friend so and so. She'd be like, you just met this friend. This is not your
Hmm.
friend.
Hmm.
And I just remember that narrative happening over and over. And I think it was definitely coming from a place of protection.
Yes. Yes.
But it was
Yes.
because so often the adults have done so much traveling, as you've
Hmm.
said, right?
Hmm.
They've done so much experiencing. And so their expectation and their projection is that your journey is going to be the same,
Correct.
right? And if you do this, this, and this is going to add to that,
Hmm.
right? And they're coming from a loving place,
Hmm.
but it kind of cuts you off at the pass from being able to have an authentic journey that is yours.
Right.
Because the truth is, you will find light in others if it
Hmm.
radiates within you.
Correct.
So it's not uncommon, right, to
Correct.
have your circle expand as we
Right.
see here and in other spaces, right? To have your circle start to expand and the friendship can look different in all the different spaces,
Hmm.
right? But I've had to kind of reframe some of the things that I was told, and it sounds like you have too, where it
Yes.
relates to affection and
It's
yeah.
kind of like yesterday when we was looking at the video with the author. What was his name? Do you remember?
Oh, Wayne
Wayne Dyer. I
Dyer.
was gonna say Wayne Wonder, but I know that's not.
That's
But
not
yeah,
him,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Wayne Dyer. Yeah, no, like and he was talking about human love,
Oh, yes, human love
spiritual
versus
love,
spiritual
and then
love,
divine love.
divine love.
Right? And just thinking about that and understanding and talking about, what you attract, right? And who
Hmm.
you are naturally, like you said, right? So if you're operating in that divine love,
Hmm.
right? And you are a giver, you are a server, and this is what you're radiating,
Yeah,
you will attract back in community or, in the world
yeah.
that, right? But when you start cutting off pieces
Hmm.
of yourself because of, parenting or other, human people that are influencing you,
Yeah.
you start cutting off, I feel like those pieces that will attract what you truly are
Hmm.
authentically,
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So James and I have been babysitting this weekend, y'all. So we have a
Mm,
house full. We've got
yes.
godsons. So we've got 11 years old, and Jameer is 3 years old and 18 months, and eight, soon to be 9 month old, all here with
It's
us
been a weekend.
today, this
It's been a
weekend.
weekend.
Y'all
It's
give
been a
it
weekend.
thanks. But it also helped us to slow
My
down.
age groups.
You're
My
right.
age groups. I'm a teacher, so I have the little ones to
You're
push
right.
with.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes. They have
So sweet.
energy.
Oh,
They
yes,
do. And
yes,
such
yes.
unique personalities so early, and it's just so
Yes.
amazing to see. And so we're at a different stage in our life because our youngest, right, is now 17. So having all the littles kind of just exploring and doing their thing has been incredible.
They don't stop. They
They
don't
don't stop.
stop.
They don't.
Right, right, right. And so, but we've also had some time to just kind of sit down on the floor and
Mhm.
just be present. You know what I mean? And that's what we've been doing just here. We just making a mess and
Mhm.
just sitting down in the floor with
Mhm.
them and just, being present. But we also had in the background YouTube going, right? There was like YouTube on the television playing, and the algorithms, right, start to spit to you those things that they know you are interested in. And we discovered Wayne Dyer. Now, I know that I've heard of him and as an author in his books before, but never really read them just yet and had not explored. So we got to hear this video. We can actually drop it into the chat since it
Yeah,
surfaced during this period.
right.
Maybe it's for others too. But to James's point, he was talking about the differences in human love, spiritual love, and divine love. And I think the way he expanded on it was like, human love is that I love you because.
Hmm.
Right? Like it's like I love you because, you
Unconditional.
love me, or I love you because, I'm attracted to you, or I love you because, right?
Right.
That human love is that. And then he talked about, and I'm paraphrasing, right, y'all? So when y'all listen, he didn't say any of that today.
Right.
Just
That's
give me
what you
some
took
praise.
for
Right? That's what I got from it. And then
spiritual love.
spiritual love was more so that like obligation style love, where it's like, I love you because I know that I am supposed to be love, right? Or
Mhm.
I commit to a belief system about love, right? So that spiritual love comes in that space of like, sometimes I don't, but I'm going to do it anyway,
Mhm.
kind of a thing, because I believe in something greater that says this about love.
Right.
But then he talks about divine
Divine
love
love.
as just like the being of love,
Yes. Yeah.
period. Period.
Yeah.
It's not conditional.
No.
It's not based on specific spiritual beliefs or anything like that. It is just love.
Love.
It is what it
Just yeah.
is. And it's your ability to be that no matter what is happening
Right.
around you, no matter who is happening
Yeah.
around you,
Right.
right?
It
Like
does not change.
it
It
doesn't
just
change.
yeah.
And it really just expanded our thought on how to look at love,
Yeah.
So we'll definitely drop that. We ended up, because we weren't
Please.
focused on it, we were kind of hearing it in the background. We had to rewind it several times,
Several times.
actually. We were like, wait, did he say something else that was? And we would rewind it to listen to it. So it was
Right.
good. And
But
we
that's how the
definitely
Most High
like it.
works, right? He'll
Yeah.
give it to you no matter what you're doing. It'll come and you'll spot it. You'll be like,
Yeah. He's like, oh, let me drop that message right
right.
here. So that was us.
Say.
So we're going to ask Sister Lorraine, we're going to ask you, unless we have someone else who would like to share, we're going to ask Sister Lorraine to pass the light. Just intuitively, who do you think might have something to share?
Right, let me look in and see who's in here. Uh, so I see truth and constance. Are you available to share?
Peace and blessings.
Blessings, blessings. I've been looking for my brother. Where's my brother?
Peace, peace, peace and blessings, family. How is it?
Blessings,
Blessings.
blessings.
Wow. Um, the one thing that's been present for me this time around is paying attention to allowance, the art of allowance.
Mm.
Mm,
Meaning um
yeah.
like I'm a creator. So I make things happen. However, it's now the art of observing what's already in place.
Yeah.
And for me, I've been sitting in day one, actually, since day one. And everything that has actually happened since day one um, has gone through all of the processes,
Mm,
but it stems from day one,
mm,
confronting the fear of vulnerability.
okay.
And of course, dealing with my brain and how it works, I had to go to the etymology of what that meant
Mhm.
and dealing with the probability just the probability of being hurt or let me see, put in there. The quality or state of being prepared for the probability of being attacked or harmed. Um, and that's psychologically, emotionally, or any other means. And I had to really look at that and deal with that.
Yeah.
And I know, like around that time, I put a song like Sister Tanae just shared the algorithm sends you exactly what you need. Like it always sends me what I'm thinking about, whether or what have you, because I love music, and so many messages and many ideas come to me through song or what I'm dealing with, and so it's like it just so happened that song came, and it's like wait a minute, but it actually spoke to a lot of the things that I was dealing with, and one of the brothers lost his father recently, and so just being vulnerable enough to care enough for another person to come out of my comfort zone to go into their reality, and be there for that person at that time, and submitting to the motion of that, we were able to I was actually able to uncover shadow desires, experience shadow desires, because his father lived to be 99 years old.
Beautiful.
And to be there at the services and to see the community members get up and speak about this individual, it was like, oh, that's what I'm desiring. Like to have the desire to be that effective in life. He has 8 children that were all present, that were all appreciative of him and the work that he put in, and to have a community that was appreciative and acknowledged the work. Even they labeled him as a quiet giant. So to be able to understand from another individual's life's experiences or expressions that you don't have to be in the forefront to be effective. You don't have to be loud or the so-called primary voice externally to actually have a major impact.
That's right. That's right.
And that was huge for me in that experience.
Wow.
And in going back to that etymology or that definition, it was to realize it only speaks about the probability, not the actuality of being damaged or hurt or things of that. It's just being prepared and going through the lessons or going through the program, Wellness Warrior, the different studies that I've done within my lifetime has prepared me actually for any of those things. And just to come to the realization has been pretty profound. So in reality, I've gone through, like Constance will ask me, she's like, have you been writing anything? And I'm like, I haven't written anything, but I've thought things. And so when thinking things, I've written them on the ethers.
Yes.
It may not be on the physical paper themselves, but it's there because I'm aware that I am the observer.
Right.
And I'm becoming even more aware of what that really means. And so in being the observer, it allows me to know that everything that is actually happening is that part of the creator that is being allowed to have these experiences, to go through these different experiences. is actually quite profound
Mm.
for me. So yeah, I've been sitting temporally in number one, but astrally I've traveled through each one without even actually reading it from the pages.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty profound for me.
Profound it is. It really is. And I love where you started with this idea of recognizing that you were experiencing an energy of allowance, and how you've tied what you've experiencing and you're allowing now to the observing, not only of observing in the work that we've been in the last week, but then observing, the divine assignment that another person, who you may or may not have ever met, right?
Right.
Lived their life through those that showed up in their transition. I mean, that's a really beautiful experience. And then connecting the dots, right, between vulnerability and now the shadow desires so seamlessly just from the experiences. I mean, that is profound. That was the word you used, and I
Yeah.
definitely echo it. I
Yes.
definitely echo it. Yeah, I'm giving thanks for that.
I say, and one also, you know, journaling comes in many ways,
Yeah,
right? So thank you for, sharing that because it's not always just writing it down,
yeah.
right? To
Mhm.
to live it and absorb it and go through it in thought. Um, I know because I've done it as well. It's another version, right?
Yeah,
I think sometimes when we say journaling, uh, we put it into one type when there's
yeah.
there's many. So thank you for sharing that, Brother Truth.
Yeah, giving permission for someone else to allow
Correct.
now
Right.
that idea as well. And
Right.
I just love also what you shared about the idea of that the duality and being a
Mm, yes.
quiet giant,
Yeah.
right? And having such an impact and being so effective at life,
Yeah.
right? In a way that doesn't necessarily have to feel like out front.
Right.
So I appreciate it's a dual notion to what we were talking about a little bit earlier on, right? About kind of shying away from being in the light, shying away from, leaning in. And now you offer this other way of leaning in without having to step forward always, right? Like you can be effective from being adjacent to and side by side in someone else's journey. So I just love that added layer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I,
And,
I,
and we send love and prayers to you and the brother
Yeah.
and his family.
I say, yeah, it was, and just the one other thing, it was, you know, to come out of my comfort zone, um, and being in that type of a setting, but then to have the experience that the Most High allowed me to witness everything
Mhm.
that I was desiring is
Mm,
possible,
Yeah.
and it was only through coming out of the comfort zone, um, of just extending, condolences, whether it's
Mhm.
through a card or through a flower or something, and also being able to see and witness the importance of actually being present
mm,
Mm.
for someone. Um, I can say other than myself, but the reality is that it was for myself.
mm,
O'Shea.
mm.
I,
O'Shea.
That's it.
Giving thanks for
Yes.
that. Giving
Yes.
thanks for that share.
and of course, pass it to Queen Constance.
He says,
Greetings, greetings,
greetings,
sis.
Peace and blessings, family. How is everyone doing?
blessings.
All right. So for me, one, like everyone's saying, it's been stacking. It's been rolling
Yeah.
one into the. I started off writing a little in my shadow work of childhood. That's where I realized in a meditation how my father, a thought came up in just quiet time of my dad when I was younger. He used to, if I wouldn't sing, the family would come for the family gatherings, a party or something, and he would want me to sing. And if I didn't feel like singing right then, he'd threaten to like take my lunch money away, put me on punishment, or try to bribe me or something.
Mm,
And so that created in me a place of um like when somebody pushes me,
Mm.
I rebel. Takes me to a place of stop. And so when my dad would do that, I didn't care what he did. I'd be like, I don't care. Take my money away. This is
Mm.
when I was like maybe in middle school. And I was like, I don't care. I don't want to sing. I don't want to do it. But that was me not absorbing that my father was actually trying to be supportive.
Mm.
So I was missing the mark. I was
Mm.
like not seeing when someone's pressing you or pushing you, it can look like in different ways. So then, that was beautiful. I wrote about that took us into where we come to day 7, and in day 7 is embracing power dynamics. And
Mm.
I'm like, okay, so a lot of times um there's a couple different things and ways where I want to be powerful and I feel powerless.
Mm.
Mm.
And so that's might go back to why when my father like pushed me, the only way I stood up and felt like I had power because I had the power of no.
Ah.
Mm.
Right. And so then we go here to where you're asking, you asked me the question of describe a situation where you felt powerless in your relationship. And I thought, I really felt powerless in just having to be in the art of allowance of knowing my husband is connected to the source
Mm.
and him, going to the source and us praying together and me doing this job that I have been in a little bit of angerment, but as a manager of all these tenants and when they're doing something that is detrimental to the community, I want to just go out and throw my badge. I want to show my badge of manager and you're going to do this because and you have to. So it ties into control, it ties into the need for wanting to be honored as the manager and show my power and you'll be put out, if you keep on doing this. But truth is always that one that gives a voice of reason. And so I've had to learn that my power as a manager and my power in my life has always been in me relaxing. Just be quiet for a moment, let it unfold, and then you're going to see where you really are standing in a position that's supported.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. So, in the middle of that, what I wrote down was also situation I felt powerless as a job. I just flowed with it, and then I want to push the power. And it says I want to be heard. Oh, it says in relating to my marriage,
Mm.
it brought me to a place to where I want to be heard in my marriage.
Mhm.
Um, because I didn't speak up, and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the best, or I'm kind of nervous about this, or I don't know if I'm ready." Because a lot of times, some things happen, and you don't know if you're ready.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I was ready for this position, um, because I didn't know how to handle all the politics that come along with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I found that just being quiet instead of standing and being my abrupt no, like I was as a child. No, I don't care. No.
Mhm. Mhm.
Which really prevented my growth. It stunted my growth in my music
Mhm.
of experience as going forth. I believe that relaxing and just flowing with it and surrendering,
Mhm.
I have seen myself grow
Mhm.
spiritually in leaps and bounds in
Mhm.
dealing with our community of people that have less than. I've grown in the way I communicate. I've grown in the way that I handle things, with paper. I do paper, black and white, more than feeling like I have to vocally speak to somebody and lay the law down. I don't have to do that no more. I don't have to show who I am in verbal. They really know because I'm following proper procedures and protocols and policies.
Mhm.
So as long as I'm doing that with myself, then I am being that person that is standing up for the right. So
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
What an incredible
Yes,
reflection.
yes.
Oh my goodness. So
Mhm.
I have to just say, the first thing you said that really landed with me was this idea of recognizing when you're being supported.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Well, recognizing when you're being supported. And immediately my mind wanted to go to, ooh, let's go investigate that more. Wait, wait, no, no, come back, come back. We have to listen to Sister Constance finish up what she's saying, right? Like
Mhm.
my mind was just like, wow, because that was such an expansive statement, sis. And I know that you were um, referencing it with your divine union, but it just seems like it could also apply so much to so many partnerships, whether it's your partnership with the divine, the Most High, with yourself, but just like you said, taking the pause to just recognize it.
Mhm.
Recognize when you're being supported. And what was so complex about you sharing it is because it sounds like it came from discomfort. But you didn't necessarily like the way the support was showing
Mhm.
up, right? It
Yeah.
felt like it was putting some guardrails on you that you were like, oh no, I'm going to use my no to get out of. Um, but still being able to shift into recognition of the support is such a beautiful thought. It's a way to really see ourselves through conflict,
Mhm.
whether it's inner conflict, spiritual conflict, or with a partner, so giving thanks for that awareness. Yeah,
Giving.
Say,
it
say.
was beautiful.
It is, also just, sitting with the thought of something that's given to you as a blessing, like,
Hmm.
Sister Constance, the power to sing
Hmm.
and harmonize and give vibrations with your voice to others.
Hmm.
Something from, it sounds like from naturally a little girl,
Hmm.
such a blessing can be influenced by so many different ways, and somebody saying, trying to force you to use this. We've heard Sister Constance just walk around and sing, right? Naturally
Right.
just flowing.
Amazing.
Because it's a
Amazing,
right,
beautiful voice.
beautiful, amazing. Again, it's a gift, and but to really give thought to how, again, that we influence,
Yeah.
whether it's our kids or parents are influencing us or others, where you almost want to keep your gift to yourself and
Hmm.
not give it
Hmm.
because of somebody else's influence. So I know that's such an internal battle
Yeah.
for something that's so natural.
Yeah, yeah. And then the duality of it being, you started in a place of talking about your singing, but then landing in a space of speaking,
Yes,
right? And
right.
that's still just that air of
Hmm. Yes,
communicating and
yeah,
sound and all, and finding your balance with that and finding and seeing when you're now recognizing the support in those spaces. I think it's just so beautiful. Thank
yeah,
you for sharing
yes,
that. Thank you for
yes,
sharing that.
yes.
There's just so many pieces to it.
Right.
Giving thanks, sis.
I give great thanks for you and for Brother Poke and everything that you're doing because you and Brother Poke have helped me blossom and flourish into who I am meant to be. It's unfolding and
Mhm.
I'm so thankful. I'm so
Mhm. Well, we give thanks
We,
for you
I
and Brother
say,
Truth
I say yes.
being divine reflections.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say, we're
yeah.
reflections.
Everything, sure.
so I am going to pass the starlight to Sacred Woman Practitioner Empress.
Yes.
Mm.
Empress, giving thanks as she was sharing the hearts all at the same moment, right?
Shay.
Ashe.
Well, as we all know, greetings family. I am a teacher and I'm preschool, so I have the ages from 3 to 5. And I have 15 children a day. So, so as I'm going through the journal, I'm still stuck with I'm still on, not stuck with, still confronting the fear of vulnerability
Mhm.
and unpacking the desire for control
Mhm.
because I feel I feel like if I am not in control, it feels like I don't know, things won't get done. I don't
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. So I feel like that's a big one for me. So I just that's definitely gonna have to be a lot of work in that for me,
Yeah.
resonating with me. And
Mhm.
And I love how the book is set up. And I'm going to be going through these again, even
Yeah.
after, because I believe that I need to work in this area.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely to release the control. To
Mhm.
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you know,
Give me thanks for that,
Yeah,
Empress. Give
that's
me
good.
thanks for that. And I could feel the emotion in that,
Yeah.
like the deep desire to have a shift there.
Mhm.
And first, I just want to tell you that yes, you reminded us that you are a teacher and that you have 15 children and you haven't been my practitioner. I could just tell you right now, I'm so grateful to know that you're a teacher. I'm so grateful to know that there are 15 children every single year who are getting their start,
Mhm.
right, with someone like you
Mhm.
in a space with them for many hours a day.
Mhm.
You are, I'm sure, a soft space to land for a future adult's inner
Mhm.
child, right? So, but I want to thank you for what you're doing there. I already understand that, so I give thanks for that. And I just invite you to the idea that because you're a teacher and you're the adult in a space with children all day, your dynamic might be that you have to have order, you have to have organization, you
Mhm.
have to have a semblance of control in order to keep them all safe, to keep them all journeying in the same direction, to keep them all learning and feeling loved. And perhaps, when you think about yourself as a teacher, and when you think about yourself as other roles you might play in your life, whether it's wife, mother, sister, whatever that might be, are there differences there,
Mhm.
and are there things you might need to do in the classroom that maybe you no longer desire to do in other spaces? Just
yes,
an idea of something to kind of layer into the experience for yourself, to think about our personas, because what you're doing all day long, it can be difficult sometimes to shed it when you're in
yes.
another
Walk into
space.
the next portal.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. When I come home, take off that jacket when I come home.
right, right.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So I know for me, I used to have to sit in the car a little while longer, listen to some music, right? And kind of just get into the energy of shedding that particular persona or the day. I mean, over time, I've been able to grow into roles that don't require me to shift as much. I get to kind of be some semblance of the same, throughout the day. But because you're with children all day, yeah, shifting to a space with adults can feel like, all right, how do I maintain order here without making everyone feel like they're
Right.
on in my class, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You took the words. You explained perfectly. That's exactly.
Ashe.
Yes. Walking into the portal. So I've been doing as I've been working on this. I've been the one thing as soon as I get home, I take a shower so I
Hmm.
can wash the day off me, so I
Hmm.
can wash the
Mhm.
energies off me,
Hmm.
wash all of that stuff. So when I get out the shower, now I'm home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can deal with that space and
Yeah.
not be. It's work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
It's work in progress. But
Ashe.
I am definitely working, definitely doing the work for this, and I'm
Ashe.
very grateful for this book. I am so
Mhm.
grateful. Thank you so much for
Give me
creating a
thanks.
Thank-
space for me.
Give me thanks.
Giving
Give me
thanks.
thanks,
Giving
Empress.
thanks.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you for
And that's an
being
amazing
here.
child. That child sits still for all this time and he is quiet and
Look,
he's detained.
look,
Woo!
he's so good. He's
He
good.
is.
You say
He's so
hi to
cute.
here. You say hi. You say hi.
He's so cute.
Say
He's
hi.
so at peace. Oh my
Look,
goodness.
and he's always the first one up. In the last 2 days, he has been the first one awake. He's like, yes, I'm here to see what is going on.
Right.
Giving thanks,
Giving
giving
Wow.
thanks.
thanks.
Yeah. I say.
Empress, would you like to pass the light?
Ah, I will pass the light to Jonelle.
Janelle, Sister Janelle. He sent greetings.
Give thanks. How did I know that you were going to
You
pass?
knew, right?
No, that was it. Divine right of it.
All
And
right, then.
it's when sacred woman practitioner, when you Tanasia gave that feedback
Mm.
I have that same thing, like, being an attorney, and then I can't, and they're like, you can't be in your life, debating
Yeah.
everything. Everybody's on trial. I mean, I had to learn, like, in a relationship, you cannot be doing that. And I think even before I was attorney, I was always doing that, and then now I realize that that's something that I do. Like, no, I need to get all the facts and what happened and what's the proof. And, so I had to release that, and the same, like taking some time before I walk in the door to just let that go. And mostly, like, I mean, with my children,
Mm.
in those relationships, they tell me something happened and I'm like getting this, I'm doing a whole investigation and one conversation. Yeah, no, calm down. So I give thanks for that. But I think much like everyone else, really that first prompt, it just carries for that vulnerability
Mm.
and that fear of vulnerability. And really when tracing back the roots of that, like the why and the how and when did this start, and it really shows up in so many other spaces. So throughout all the prompts I was able to trace it back to that root. So again, I really do give thanks for being able to see myself. And I've been right now also observing Ramadan, and it's just been so much mental clarity. And
Mm.
so that on top of the shadow work journey, it's just like, okay, man, here
Yeah.
you go. Here I am, showing up so fully, and things that I may have even things that I may have tolerated before, it's just like I don't have a tolerance for, and that's a pattern, and just recognizing where the patterns are and shining light in those dark spaces. So I give thanks for you all. I give thanks for your book. It's been so helpful, and I've also been like journaling and writing and like just thinking on these things. So experience journaling and doing this, as a brother said. So I really just give thanks for this
Mm.
divine container. And she,
Giving
That's right.
thanks,
That's
giving
right.
thanks. So
Giving
grateful
thanks.
that you're here.
Yeah.
And thank you for the beautiful share
Yeah.
also yesterday, as well in the chat. Just like you said, you're carrying the light and shining it on the shadows. And it just helps us in the space of knowing that we don't have to let the shadow continue to shape and color our experiences. We get to do it differently if we desire to. So just giving thanks for your vulnerability and your transparency with all that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And sis, who would you like to pass the light to?
I joined late, so I don't know who's gone already, but it
Um,
has Lorraine yet.
did you say Sister Lorraine? So Lorraine did share. We haven't heard from, let's see, Sister Megan, Sister Crystal, Brother Cord,
All
so
right,
far.
let's mix
And
it up.
Sister Felisa.
Let's hear the brother Cord.
Brother Cord.
That's right.
Giving thanks, sis. Peace and blessings, Brother Cord.
Peace and blessings. That's continued to been reiterated here. Thank you all for creating this space to
Giving
go
thanks.
on this journey and reflect deeply. The one that I would speak on in the reflection that I wrote down was the more, I think, yesterday, where I wrote, power struggles do not necessarily mean something is broken. They often reveal where awareness and communication are needed. When I
Mhm.
step back and look at these moments more with more clarity, I see that real work is not about winning a conversation, but about maintaining openness while still honoring my own voice. Balanced power in a relationship means both people recognize that each perspective carries meaning. It is not about immediate agreement, but about mutual respect and the willingness to truly listen.
Mhm.
So, what I've been reflecting upon, because over the past month, I think as Brother Truth shared about other, you know, spiritual learnings, as you're developing yourself and embarking on other different paths, I've been taking some a Kabbalah class for the past month. And one of the things that I've reflected upon in my past relationships as a topic was communication.
Mhm.
And around that particularly is when I felt like something that a perspective of mine wasn't fully received or may have been dismissed when I thought it was important.
Mhm.
And as I've taken a step back to evaluate those instances where that occurred, I've more so started to look at myself and realize, well, how was my presentation of that?
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
may have been preachy or, not coming from a place of us approaching it as two students in life. And
Mhm.
upon the test that you meet in life, just sharing helpful notes rather than coming off as some sort of master teacher of something. So that was my reflective thought because I've already kind of been thinking about this and how these converged upon what I was already kind of journaling through with that particular program and kind of double clicking on it with this day eight this recent day. So it was definitely helpful yesterday.
Dang.
So that we give thanks. That was such thank you, Brother Corey, for sharing. I mean, and
Yeah.
this is what I mean, like when we share, each of us get to experience,
Mhm. Mhm.
not just your reflection, but also what that means in our own, life. Right. And for you to say, to look at things where we're all students, right?
Mhm.
Which we do, but to actually think about it as sharing notes,
Mhm. It's
you
kind of,
know?
that's an amazing thought.
It really hit me. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, yeah, like, even in conversation, it's not about winning the conversation. It's really about us sharing these notes up through our experiences, through our life,
Mhm.
whatever, and then together we're all trying to figure it out. Right?
Mhm.
There is no like you said, Brother Cord, like, the master teacher, like,
Mhm.
we're all students,
That's right.
right? So it was a beautiful thought. Thank you,
I
Brother
love
Cord, for
that.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And it really just puts in such a simple and yet expansive way exactly what the experience has been like for James and I.
Hmm.
Like it's definitely been sharing notes.
Yes. Right.
Exactly that.
Right.
Like especially during this time with the shadow work
Hmm.
journey, just kind of saying, okay, so we sit down together when we're doing the journaling. And it's like, well, so what came up for you? Oh, well, yesterday I went first. Today you go first, kind of thing, right? And sharing notes. So I just love you anchoring us
Yes.
with that thought, and just kind of bringing it forward in its color to say that's what this is and that's what it can be. And we don't have to look to be master teachers.
Right. Right.
We really don't.
Right.
Because what are we teaching, right? Each of our journeys is going to be very different.
Correct.
So yeah.
Sharing notes. Right.
Yeah, it's just a brilliant,
It
brilliant
is.
way of placing
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
giving thanks for that, Brother Ford.
Ashe. And as the last sister expressed, I too joined a little late. I can't recall. I know Sister Tanasia, you shared that who hasn't gone. Could you repeat
Yeah.
those people?
So we have Sister Chris, we have Sister Megan, and Sister Felisa on.
Okay, well, I passed the light to Sister Chris.
Okay, giving thanks.
Good morning. As I'm sitting here going, no, 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 not
Right?
me,
Because right? We
right?
always know.
Um, so I've been very intentional about this. I work these crazy hours now. I work from 4 to 12, 4 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon.
Mm,
So I've been sitting and I've been intentional and I've been saying, okay, I'm going to sit and I'm going to do this.
mm,
And I do. I
mm,
think the hardest part for me was control.
mm,
Just trying to learn how to relinquish that for me is extremely hard.
mm,
Um, Especially when there's so many things that you have to relinquish that control.
mm,
Um,
mm,
and trusting someone is a big part, right? So whether it is relinquishing the control to a
mm,
partner or trusting a child so that you can go, okay, I don't have to watch over my child to do this and control the narrative of
mm,
what they're going to do. Um, so I'm still working on it,
mm, mm,
still trying to unpack it, still try to figure out how to allow
mm,
myself, my nervous system, to relax enough
Mm.
to allow someone else.
Yeah.
Because I still come home, if you know me, I work a lot of hours.
Mm.
Um, just letting go of okay, so the dishes are going to be done when I get home. How
Mm.
do I relinquish that control? How do I trust that someone is going to actually, you know, do the things that they're supposed to do? So I'm still working on it. I am still a work in progress.
Yeah.
And just going, just taking it day by day.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, giving thanks, sis. Giving thanks
Yes.
for that. And I just want to say, we all are a work in progress.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's a continuous journey and I love you naming it. But what I hear from you, which I think is so incredible, is that the shadow was actually on control, but you held a light to it and recognized that it's actually trust,
Mm.
and that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. I think sometimes we might bypass the first that first step that felt like, oh, that was kind of simple. No, I want to get on to the bigger piece. But that's big. That's big. You recognizing that this is not just me wanting to create order and it's not just me wanting to be dominant, right? It's that there's a trust thing that's happening here. And so that awareness is everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I just, like you said, you're a work in progress. So I'm sure you'll continue to explore now where the trust, concerns lie and what could be done to adjust it. It's funny because trust came up for me too
Mm-hmm.
early on with the vulnerability exercise where so one of the exercises in the book was to have our partners like blindfold us and walk us, right? And immediately my mind went to there are this many stairs that we're about to go towards. There's cracks in the sidewalk outside. It's dark out there. There's snow out there. Like I started to calculate all the risk
Mm-hmm.
in my mind. And then as James kind of led me out with the blindfold, I recognized in my body I wanted to put my arms out to like to brace for whatever it
Mm-hmm.
was. And I told myself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pause here and I'm going to just choose to trust.
Right.
And I think in that moment was when I realized that trust was a choice. I think I've always been thinking of it in a way of like a milestone.
Right.
It's something that we arrive in once someone has done enough of blank, right? Like they have
Right.
proven enough of this, they have done enough of that, and they've shown enough of consistency in this. And now I'm going to gift them my trust.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize in that moment that I could just choose trust,
Right.
and then give the gift of allowing, to use the word that Brother Truth brought on earlier, another to lean into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to show me whether or not I made the right choice, but just recognizing it as trust. So I give thanks for you bringing that up. We are reflections as a lot of ways, right? And yeah, trust was definitely something that came up for me too. So giving thanks
Yeah,
for you sharing.
whenever I hear trust, right, the thing that always comes up in my head is, um, when was the first time I stopped trusting?
Mm,
Right? Because naturally, right, when you come into this realm, again, we are love, we are in trust because we don't know any better. So
mhm.
when was it the first time where you realize you can't trust?
Yeah.
And I travel down that path a lot.
Wow, wow. And that's such a beautiful thought because I think sometimes somewhere between adolescence and like young adulthood, we start to learn new words like naive,
Mm,
right?
right.
Like being taken advantage of and
Hmm.
things like that. We start to have different experiences,
Right.
and then it starts to kind of cast a shadow over our ability
Right.
to trust. You're
Right.
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 But I mean, as a baby, you can't do anything but trust, right?
Right.
So I love that you
Right.
brought that idea on.
Right.
As a baby, you're here, you need everybody to do everything for you.
Right.
So you definitely come here
Right.
in an energy of trust.
Yeah. When was it that you realized, oh, wait a minute?
That changed.
Yeah.
Giving thanks for that. That was a beautiful thought.
Mhm. Sparked
Sis,
by our sis. So
yeah,
thank you, sis.
thank you for opening the portal on that.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. That was expansive. Giving thanks, sis. Who would you like to pass it to? So we
Um,
still have Sister Felisa and Sister Megan.
I'm gonna go with Sister Megan.
Megan. Peace and greetings. That was so good. I love
Mhm.
that. The idea of trust being brought back.
Divine day, everybody.
My day.
Greetings, sis.
Um, let's see. A lot of what has been said, I've definitely related to in some way, shape, or form. But um, I think it was two things that stood out the most as of recent, and it's in alignment with the journey I've been on. But the first one was control,
Mm.
and realizing that a lot of the time I am controlling myself in situations. I remembered as a kid, my little cousin was fighting me, and my grandmother, my mom, my uncle were like, "Well, don't fight him back," because I punched him. I didn't.
Mhm.
I would defend yourself. But they were like, "No, he's just a baby. Don't punch him back. That. You should know better. You're the older one." And da 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 da.
Mhm.
And the what I took from that was, okay, I have to control myself on behalf of others,
Mhm.
and I also don't get the opportunity to fully express or protect myself in certain
Mhm.
situations.
Wow.
And so it grew into always controlling either my emotions or my reactions, or just how I moved. And
Yeah.
recently, I've been more focused on allowing myself to play
Mhm.
and allowing myself to not control the way I view what happens after my action. So and I'm aware of consequences and all the things, but more so in regards to trying things,
Mhm.
because I realized that I was controlling myself even then,
Mhm.
because I wasn't either allowing myself to fully try, or there was almost like a performance anxiety to show up. So it progressed as a kid from teachers saying you raise your hand too much, or like you
Mhm.
do the most, and so it always came back to, well, I have to control myself.
Mhm.
And so now I'm just embracing more opportunities to play and show up messy, and
Yeah.
to not think about how it may be perceived as a lack of control on my side, or a lack
Mhm. Wow.
of perfection, or just how you're so cringy in this moment kind of thing. And just to allow myself to be. The other thing that came up was something that Sister Constance said about being the time they were powerless. I know that was one of the themes,
Mhm.
but I hadn't gotten there yet. I had to kind of sit with some things first.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking that I felt powerless in my own body at times
Mhm.
with, like, I guess, sports injuries, or
Mhm.
Mm.
powerless when I had immune issues, and different things that I felt like my body was not was not within my control.
Mhm.
And then I had to, through this, sitting back and realizing that's just communication.
Mhm.
That is a communication with my body telling me that something needs to be addressed, something is stuck, something is going on that needs my attention.
Mhm.
And to show out is the only way that it can get my
Mhm.
attention in a
Mhm.
deeper way, in a more visceral way. So So yeah, those were the things that came up, and I'm just grateful, as everyone has said, for the circle and the opportunity. Um, and even reading back my last shadow work
Mhm.
compared to this one, I can see the evolution
Mm,
and what comes up, and also the growth that has happened, and
Mhm.
was really, really grateful for that.
Yeah.
So I give thanks, and with that, I
Ashe,
am complete.
Ashe, Ashe. Oh my goodness.
I love so much of that, but just even to really just touch on that last part, thank you, sister, for even sharing that because
Mhm.
that's the medicine right there. That's
Mhm.
to be able to sit back and see your own growth,
Yeah.
is such a beautiful thing, and it's
Mhm.
inspiring, right? To
Mhm.
and motivating to keep you
Yeah,
going
like
and
self-inspiring,
right,
right?
right, yeah,
Mhm. Your own evidence
right.
of growth. I love it. And I just love this idea that Sister Megan brought forward of just losing control within
Mm,
yourself. Having we've raised three boys, right, and our daughter, and there is definitely a box that they check in report cards early on, self-control, 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 right? So when you just mentioned that idea of learning externally, that it's so important to be self-controlled,
mm,
right? I immediately thought about that. I'm like, wow, yes,
right.
yes.
Hmm.
And it's reinforced in school and other spaces. And so when I hear you say that you're just activating your sense of play as an adult, right? Like you're gonna do the cringy things, right? And
Hmm.
just kind of experience and not worry about the control piece of yourself. Wow, that really, the word that came to mind and heart feels like liberation.
Yes.
Like that is full liberation to just say, I'm going to do the things that just light me up. And it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? And even this notion of letting people see you try,
Mm,
like how often, even in so many social dynamics, whether it's educational spaces or outside of it, it's like you don't want anybody to see the paper that was all marked up with the red lines drawn across it, right? And the circles that said correct this piece or whatever, right? It's like, no, no, no. Okay, that's the piece that's not final yet. I want to wait until I can bring forward the final draft, right? The one that's polished and pristine and
mm,
it's all good. It's qualifying of an A plus.
mm.
So getting into this notion as a full-on adult of like, no, I'm gonna let you see my draft.
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna let you see my draft. I just absolutely love that.
So,
I
Sister
love
Megan
it.
always says something that sparked something for me with the
Mm,
uprising or something, right?
mm,
So now she sparked Liberation Day, right? We're gonna
mm.
all give us
Just play.
just that's it. We're gonna set it off and have a Liberation Day with that day. Just give yourself
Ashe,
permission
ashe,
to just lose
ashe.
control and just do whatever. Be
Yeah,
free.
yeah, just be free.
So as always, give
Be
thanks.
cringy, as she said,
Yeah, right.
right?
Right. Thank you,
I
Sister
love
Megan. You
it.
always do that. So thank you.
Give it thanks, sis. That was beautiful. And Sister Felisa is up next. Last but certainly not least
I
at
say,
all.
I say.
Giving thanks, sis.
I'm sorry, you've reached a recording. Grand rising, everybody.
Divine Rising.
Greetings, sis.
What do I say after all of the shares? Man, I tell you, you talk about alignment.
Mm,
It's been so awesome to just be able to relate to everyone. I think Sister Megan takes the cake when
mm.
it comes to certain things. And it's been a lot. I've been really, I mean, I was excited when I saw, this opportunity coming back and then the dread setting in.
Mhm.
Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to revisit some things, I think I've grown through and but honestly I recently experienced a trigger, and so the timing was perfect and I reacted in a way that I'm not really proud of, but I was able to recover, acknowledge, how I reacted, that it wasn't the best reaction, and explain why that reaction was what it was. Because, if you know me, you know my motto is I am never going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am never going back to where I was. Um, and if I had to summarize what the last 7 days have meant for me, is that I can say now today I can hear my own voice that
Mm.
is mostly powered by the Most High.
Mm,
Come
that's
on.
good.
Yes.
And I say mostly because,
Mm.
like, you all, I'm always a work in progress. I'm learning and growing every day. And
Yeah.
in so many instances, I've had to outgrow my circumstances where I didn't feel like I had a voice or I had no power,
Mhm.
control over anything in my life. But when I was young, I made promises to myself, like, when I get older, I'm never gonna,
Mm.
nobody's gonna ever be able to put me out of their house again, and blah, blah, blah. So, but I'm happy and I'm proud to say that I've kept a lot of promises to myself.
Yeah.
I didn't lean into my circumstances. I could have yielded to, um, the things that happened to me, the traumas that existed in my life, but
Mhm.
I didn't. I always knew that there was something better.
Mhm.
And I feel kind of emotional about it because I can see the growth. I can see,
Mhm.
where I've come from, and this new process or this current process is helping me to see where I've come from, where I've been versus where I am today. So, and thinking about chapter 7, it really, I don't want to say it broke me down, but it made me cry because I thought, in reviewing a lot of the things, excuse me, in reviewing a lot of the
Yeah.
things that, like I said, I've overcome. Unfortunately, the controllers in my life are not very happy with me
Mhm.
because the power has definitely shifted, and access is limited, and sometimes it's denied.
Mm,
And so, and I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm a certified empath because I still feel deeply, but now I don't take on other people's
Yeah.
issues. I don't do that, and it's still hard for me because my heart is in one place, and I want to do more to help people, but I realize I have to have those boundaries, and
mm,
you know, and I can sit in my quiet power.
That's
As the
right.
brother talked
Right.
about
That's
the
right.
man had that transition. I can sit in my quiet power.
mm,
I can embrace my softness,
Mhm.
and I can, I can be good with it and not seek approval. Am I doing this right? Am I, this? Am I good? Am I being perceived well? Am I, and stop questioning myself because I'm okay just the way I am.
Come
I
on.
am enough, and I
Yeah.
I put things around me to remind me because the challenges have not gone away.
Yes.
They're still there. They're still
Yeah.
here.
mm,
And but I'll say this. I'm like an onion, once I get through one layer, here comes another one.
Mhm.
mm,
And
Mhm. Yeah.
and but I meet it, I stand up, I stand on it, and I'm so much more confident. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt because some people have walked out of my life
Mhm.
because I stood up for myself, and that hurt. That's like, I've had some true, some people that I've lost that have died, in transition. And then I've had others, so I've grieved that, and then I've grieved the loss of some other relationships.
Mhm.
But I'm standing in
Mhm.
my truth, in my power, and I'm okay with that. Like,
mm,
hey, I was born for, I mean, this is my right,
Yeah.
and I don't have to give it away anymore. And
Mhm.
so, I'm so thankful. And I really mean that gratitude is my superpower because I remember I never, I will never forget where I came from. I will never forget the people like the Pokes that helped me get to where I am
Oh,
today.
killing, killing, killing,
and,
killing.
and
Yeah.
my, and my other spiritual brothers and sisters. And lastly, I'll say that, the body keeps the score. Like many
Mhm.
of you, I've been through a lot of trauma
mm,
as a child, as an adult. And so my body, as Sister Megan kind of alluded to, my body has kept the score. And so now my greatest challenge is unblocking, getting things unstuck,
mm,
My heart is having some challenges now. My body, from top to bottom. But what I say normally, if people ask me how I'm doing, if
Mhm.
I'm honest, I'll say, "Oh, my soul is great." But my body has some
Mhm.
challenges we're working through,
Mhm.
and
Mm,
I mean that, and these cardinals keep coming, these spiritual things keep coming to me and to Sister Tanasia. I know you have your own personal butterfly,
Yeah.
but God is big enough for us all to have our own personal,
That's
spiritual
right.
messages, and I'll end with that. I'm so
mm,
grateful, and I appreciate the shares, and I appreciate the two of you for truly, saving space for us because it matters when you have somebody that can understand, like you don't feel like an outcast or like you're crazy or whatever. So I really do appreciate that, I have the ability to laugh at myself and my own specialness. So with that, I am complete.
Oh my goodness.
mm.
Lisa. Oh my goodness.
That was the close.
Yes, it was.
That was it.
Ashe.
It
So
perfectly
heartwarming.
aligned and oh sis,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
to be able to when you go back to that first one talking about vulnerability, right?
Mm.
To be able to let us in and let us attach
Yeah.
to you and your emotions and your
Mm.
feelings.
Mhm.
We give thanks for you
Yeah.
being in this community and
Mm.
also for the Most High aligning you to be the close to bring everything
Mhm.
together in the end,
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
The big statement that Sister Felisa made that really landed with me too is this idea of hearing her own voice.
Yeah.
What? Oh my goodness. I'm like that. Yes. And knowing that it's the God within you,
Yeah.
right? That you have
Yeah.
expanded yourself and your awareness and your connection with the divine so deeply that now you recognize and know that it is your own voice,
Mhm.
that you're hearing whenever those messages come
Mhm.
forward that are reminders, like I absolutely love it. And that is truly the preface that shadow work stands on,
Yeah.
right? Being able to hear your own voice
Mhm.
so you can turn and put a light on that shadow. So yes,
Absolutely.
that was it.
Right.
Like Sister Melissa, that was amazing. So many incredible shares. I feel like we have a lot of synergy in
Yeah.
this space, y'all. All the shares were so beautiful. I'm so grateful. So much connection and just truth.
Right.
Just truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are now into our second week, y'all.
That's it.
Meet us in the chat. I'll actually share the link to our meditation, our article, and our prompts today. If you've signed up on the Substack, you received it already, so that will be in your inbox.
Mhm.
And at this time, we're going to close out with I guess, our beginning of our next
Right.
chapter, which is reconciling with shadow projections.
Right.
All right.
Right. And we'll do the prayer as a repeat and recall. So if you're in spirit as always and would like to unmute, again, I am always grateful for that exchange, the energy exchange. So thank you. All right. So prayer for intention. Illuminating light, reveal to me the parts of myself that I project onto others.
Illuminating
Illuminate
light,
Illuminating
reveal
light,
to
reveal to
reveal
me
to
me the
me
the
parts of
the
parts
parts
of
of
myself
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 that I
that I
project
project
onto
that
onto
I
others.
project
others.
onto others.
May I have the courage to own these reflections
May I have the
May I have
May I
the
have
May
the
I
courage
have the
to
courage
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 to
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 own
own
these
own
these
these
reflections
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 and to integrate them with love and acceptance.
and to
and
and
to
to
integrate
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 them
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 them with
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 love
love
and
love
and
and
acceptance.
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 Guide me to see clearly, to embrace my shadows,
God
Guide
me to
me
Guide
to
me to
see
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 clearly,
clearly,
clearly, to
embrace
to
my
embrace
embrace
my
my
shadows,
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 shadows
and to reconcile with the parts of myself that seek healing through projection.
and
and
to
and
to
to
reconcile
reconcile with
with
the
the
reconcile
parts
the
of
parts of
parts of
myself
myself.
myself
that
that
So
seek
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 healing
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 through
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 projection.
projection,
projection.
connection.
going through
Ashe.
I said,
Ashe.
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 giving thanks, family. Peaceful week.
Yeah, sending love to y'all.
Sending love and much, much.
Sending love, light, and myrrh.
Love and light,
Ashe,
be like.
Love
Ashe.
and light. Give thanks.
Give thanks.
Blessings.
Thanks.
Ashe.